Arcade Heroes.
Greetings, it's Adam with ArcadeHeroes.com, and I've got kind of a preview of our preview. I don't know if you would call it that. So, as I've mentioned on various recent videos, as well as on the blog, there is a massive trade show coming up in Orlando here in about a week and a half called IAAPA, and it's essentially the E3 of the arcade industry, a massive trade show or all sorts of manufacturers come together and show off their latest, greatest products. And of course, not all of it's related to arcades. In fact, quite a bit of it is for stuff like amusement parks. But there is a big section that's just for arcades, and because of that, a lot of the manufacturers take the opportunity to promote their latest stuff. Just makes sense. And so with that, today's preview is going to be all about some racing games that are going to be at the show. Now, keep in mind, I will do a live stream, a full IAAPA preview on Thursday, November 10th at 11:30 in the morning Mountain Time. So I know nobody uses that, so but you can look it up and figure it out. We're an hour ahead of Pacific Time, but that will be the full-blown preview, but just to kind of help focus it a little bit on some racing games that are coming along, that's what we're doing today. And so we'll start off with Sega, as they've announced 2 racing games, and I've discussed these to some degree in videos, mainly Sega's new drone racing Genesis, which is their new drone racing game. Now, recently, Sega did post this teaser to YouTube, so if you want to watch the whole thing in better quality, then you can go ahead and do that there. I've muted it just in case YouTube decides to hit me with a copyright thing for the music, which is always silly. But, I mean, it's hard to judge on how it plays exactly from this footage. The drones are controlled with a single joystick, but again, I will be there to check it out. Now, one thing that I would like to do is take my mini drone camera and see if I can film that there. I'm not sure if I can, but I'll see if there's a way. That would be fun and fitting to do for that particular game. And then they also have a teaser for Storm Rider 2, which is developed by Wall-Up and I think Taiwanese company IGS. Now, it was right there. 3 Mind Wave. And so 3 Mind Wave is a company that Sega has been working with in recent times. They developed another racer called ATV Slam, and their VR game, their first VR game, VR Agent, both of which I have video footage of on the channel. But this seems to borrow certain elements from the IGS motorcycle games like Speed Rider, I think it's called. I have footage of that somewhere. But if you hop over to Sega's website, SegaArcade.com, and I did have somebody posting on Facebook saying, well, isn't Sega out of business due to this old article that I read and misunderstood? Well, no, they're not. And so there's plenty of evidence if you go to SegaArcade.com that Sega's still busy producing arcade machines. But granted, they're not really doing much over in Japan. It's mainly international now. So the official name of the company is Sega Amusements International. But anyways, they now have page listings for both Drone Racing Genesis and Storm Rider 2. A lot of the same details. The only new thing that I caught here was that the display is a 42-inch. It says HD, not UHD, so I'd assume 1080p. There, all the other details seem to mirror what we got in the initial press release. And also, if you like stills, screenshots, they have those added now. But of course, in today's world, videos generally the one that's preferred. But when I was looking at this, it was like, it'd be kind of cool if they had a little mechanism inside here of a spinning fan. You could still have your plastic cover so that people can't stick their hand into it, but that would look cool if it was spinning around during play. But you got that, and then Storm Rider 2, and the official name Motion Twin. So that would imply that if you buy one of these, you get 2 screens, two sets of controls and all that. And looking at this obvious render, it's interesting in that the base, it seems that this is an automatic motion base, possibly, and you also have the swivel built in here. I'm trying to remember some other motorcycle racing classics that were like that. I think Manix TT. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I played that one. But of course, you also have your handlebars, and then you have your second screen. Now, when we first saw photos of the second screen, we weren't really sure what that was, but fortunately in the features it mentions that it's a touchscreen lobby controls. And there's also a bike upgrade feature. It mentions 3 cool new bikes and characters, but I'm not sure if that means on top of the first Storm Rider. Now, if you've never seen the first Storm Rider, well, I've got a video of that on my channel, of course, and this is from, I think, 2010. But Storm Rider was developed by Wallop initially to compete with Superbikes, Raw Thrills' Superbikes. And of course, Superbikes 1, 2, and now 3 have been the dominating force for motorcycle racing games on the market. But with these newer ones, they're looking to take a bite out of Superbikes 3, I would presume. And so if you want to watch all of this, just find the link on I'll put the link in the description here. But from this gameplay versus what we saw in the teaser, it looks like they've changed it up quite a bit. So the original was a little bit more technical and more serious, whereas the new one looks to be really going for the Superbikes market with having tricks and things blowing up and, you know, going full over the top instead of trying to be a motorcycle off-roading racing fantasy. And so, yeah, that covers what Sega's bringing to the show. Now, let me preview a couple of others really quick. Raw Thrills just posted this tweet and talking about how they are going to have Fast and Furious Arcade there. This, of course, was revealed at previous trade shows such as Bull Expo. I wasn't able to attend that because my brother got COVID, so I had to stay here to watch my arcade. But you can see in there screenshots of Fast and Furious Arcade. But also from this tweet, it seems to indicate that there will be more new stuff than Fast and Furious because of just how this is worded. And it is, accepting last year's IAAPA, Raw Thrills has generally taken this opportunity to unveil a couple to a few new pieces. So what else they might have, I'm not 100% sure. Earlier this year, they had been testing Tecmo Bowl, initially called 2020, then 2021, then 2022. So last I heard, they canceled that, but who knows? Maybe they decided to delay that, and they'll bring it out now. There was a standard version of Halo Fireteam Raven that we saw in test earlier this year. It was in the Aliens Armageddon cabinet. So maybe that could be there, and perhaps something completely new could also be there as well, and so it'd be interesting to see that. And then also in racing, we have an announcement from LAI Games. So on their social media this week, they've been promoting that they're bringing 3 new games to IAAPA. 2 of them are redemption games. One is FGTV Out of Time, and then the other one is Rick and Morty, a redemption game, a marble pusher. And so, of course, if you know me, I don't really follow redemption a whole lot. I'll cover it for trade shows, but I don't generally go out of my way to make announcements on it, just because it tends to sell itself, and I'm also just never really been a fan. But as you can see here, their video game will be Asphalt Legends 9 Arcade VR. And so I have footage on my channel of Asphalt 9 Legends without the VR, which has been out since last year, but now they're putting VR onto it. But as it mentions, and this is from LinkedIn, new game modes including Hunted, a furious police chase sequence, and new supercars with unique first-person view cockpits. And so this would not be the first VR racing game that's hit the market. There's been one for a while called Overtake VR from IGS and Wallop that I think I've only tried that one once, but it did have this thing where you had a virtual girlfriend sitting in the passenger seat and you could interact with her. But of course, having the first-person cockpit is one way to help things stand out from your typical video game, I suppose, and gives it a reason to have that on there. Now, for last but not least, I have some new exclusive information on Bandai Namco's next racing game, which is Dead Heat Unleashed. And recently I posted some video thanks to a reader who went and checked this out on test and posted that. He also grabbed some photos for us to check out, but I have the car roster. And according to this email, which I got from somebody at Bandai Namco Amusements, this is the final list, and there are 10 vehicles here. And so, without further ado, we have the Mazda RX-7, the Nissan GT-R50 E-Tail design, the Nissan Skyline GTR, the Nissan Fairlady Z version ST, the Nissan GTR Spec V, Nissan Fairlady Z S30, the Subaru Impreza, the Toyota Supra, the Toyota GR Supra, and the Toyota 2000 GT. So of that list, Nissan definitely dominates there, but if you're into any of those Japanese-made cars, well, there you go. That's what you can race in Dead Heat Unleashed. And so, again, I will be at IAAPA. I'll be filming all this stuff. If there's anything that I've mentioned here or in other posts, other videos that you'd really like me to focus on, then please let me know ahead of time so that I can make sure that I get the footage. I mean, I'll be trying to get everything that I can. I'll also try and see if I can get some direct capture footage. I'll take my device with me and just see if I can find the time to pop the back open, if anybody will let me, and connect it directly that way. But yeah, should be an exciting event. There'll be more than racing games that are there, but generally speaking, the racing game in the arcade industry is almost like, say, the first-person shooter for consoles. I mean, granted, I guess the comparison of light gun games would make more sense there, but it always seems like the racing game posts and videos get a lot more attention than, say, light guns or rhythm games or anything else. And so that's just one of the major drivers to our market, and in part that's because with any sort of racing game like the cabinet here, that just helps create a unique experience that you don't get at home. Even if you buy one of those driving wheels, it's a lot better when you have a full cabinet and makes you feel like you're sitting in a race car and all that. So anything, which of these racing games interest you the most? Let me know in the comments, and we'll catch you on the next video.